After Julius Caesar's decisive crossing of the Rubicon River in 49 BCE, a momentous event that marked the beginning of the Roman Civil War, a series of significant events unfolded leading up to the Siege of Massilia. By crossing the Rubicon River with his legions, Caesar has already directly defied the Senate's orders not to bring his armies into Italy. This act effectively declared war on the Roman Republic and set the stage for the conflict. Before I proceed, I have a humble request. If you could spare a moment, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could support me by subscribing to my channel. It means a lot to me. Now, let's continue. Caesar's army rapidly advanced through Italy, encountering little resistance. Many cities and towns surrendered without a fight, while others showed support for Caesar's cause. The Pompeian forces, led by Pompey, retreated to the south. Caesar secured control over most of Italy, including Rome itself. The Senate and many prominent political figures, including Pompey, fled to the eastern provinces. Pompey, on the other side, sought support from various eastern allies, including the powerful city of Massilia, modern-day Marseille in France. Massilia was a prosperous Roman ally and a crucial maritime and trade hub in the western Mediterranean. Massilia initially declared its neutrality in the conflict, intending to remain uninvolved in the power struggle between Caesar and Pompey. However, Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, a supporter of the Pompey, had assumed control of Gaul and sought to strengthen their position by gaining control of Massilia and opposing Caesar. When news of Ahenobarbus' intentions reached Caesar, he was already on his way to Hispania to confront Pompey's legions. Caesar understood Massilia's strategic importance and sought to gain control over the city and its resources. As Caesar approached Massilia, seeking passage through the city, the Massiliates, in alliance with Ahenobarbus and the Optimates, defiantly closed their gates to him. Enraged by their hostile actions and recognizing the strategic significance of the city, Caesar decided to lay siege to Massilia. He entrusted the task to his senior legate, Gnaeus Trebonius, who was to lead the 17, 18, and 19 legions in the siege. Caesar also placed Decimus Brutus, a skilled naval expert, in command of his fleet in the region. The siege of Massilia commenced as Ahenobarbus himself arrived to defend the city. In a naval encounter, despite being outnumbered and having ships that were less skillfully built than those of the Massiliates, Caesar's fleet emerged victorious in late June. Gnaeus Trebonius, during the siege, utilized various siege machines, including towers and ramps, to breach the city's defenses. His most remarkable accomplishment was the construction of a massive stationary tower, rising 6 stories high and built under the very walls of Massilia. The tower, covered with a fireproof roof and protected with screens, allowed the Caesarian forces to build successive stories, gradually gaining height and getting closer to the city's walls despite a rain of missiles from the defenders. Throughout the siege, the Massiliates bravely resisted the onslaught of siege machines and undermining tactics employed by the Caesarians. They even appeared to be on the verge of surrendering and declaring a truce at one point. However, in a surprising and cunning move, they destroyed the Caesarian siege works at night, breaking the treaty and displaying their determination to defend their city at any cost. Despite the valiant defense, Massilia's situation grew dire, and the city's inhabitants were near surrender when, at last, they chose to submit. Caesar, known for his leniency after victories, spared the city and its people, allowing Massilia to maintain nominal autonomy due to ancient ties of friendship with Rome. However, Caesar did confiscate most of Massilia's empire, while some territories were permitted to remain under their control. During the same time as the Siege of Massilia, the Battle of Ilerda took place, where the forces of Julius Caesar, faced off against the Spanish army of Pompey Magnus, led by the skilled legates Lucius Afranius and Marcus Petreius. Caesar entrusted the siege of Massilia to his capable allies, Gaius Trebonius and Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus, while he pressed forward to reinforce his 3 legions in Hispania Citerior under the command of his trusted legate Fabius. Fabius, with his well-positioned forces, took control of crucial passes through the Pyrenees and moved deeper into the peninsula. Meanwhile, Afranius and Petreius established their camp on a hill south of the city of Ilerda, ensuring easy access to provisions and water through a stone bridge and the river Sicorus. Not to be outmaneuvered, Fabius hatched a daring plan. He constructed 2 new wooden bridges across the river upstream from Ilerda, allowing his army to cross to the western bank and confront the Pompeians on their own turf. However, skirmishes between the Caesarian forces and Pompeian cavalry ensued during foraging missions, leading to tense encounters. In the midst of these forays, disaster struck. One of the bridges used by 2 of Caesar's legions was swept away by the river's current. Seizing the opportunity, Afranius decided to strike, leading 4 of his legions and cavalry across the stone bridge to attack Fabius's isolated legions under the command of Lucius Plancus. Plancus found himself in a precarious situation, but salvation came when the rest of Fabius's legions arrived, turning the tide in favor of Caesar's forces. Upon Caesar's arrival at the scene, he assumed command and positioned his army about 400 paces from the Pompeian camp. However, instead of directly engaging in battle, Caesar had his first 2 lines form up for battle while the 3rd line discreetly dug a wide ditch behind the ranks. As night fell, Caesar withdrew his troops behind the hidden ditch and spent the night in a state of readiness. The following day, the Caesarian forces continued constructing the defensive ditch and ramparts to secure their camp. The true test of the battle was yet to come. Caesar set his sights on a strategic hill that lay between Ilerda and the Pompeian camp. Capturing this hill would cut off the enemy's communication with the town and bridge, rendering their supplies useless. Both armies sent detachments towards the hill, and the Pompeians reached it first. Their skirmish-like combat technique overwhelmed the Caesarian detachment, forcing them to retreat. Caesar, witnessing the waning morale of his men, led the 9th Legion to reinforce them. A prolonged battle ensued, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. Caesar's men fought with determination, but they found themselves at a disadvantage due to the narrow and steep terrain. Despite the challenges, they persevered, pushing the Pompeian forces back to the walls of Ilerda. Yet, nature itself added another twist to the unfolding drama. Spring storms and melting snow caused flooding, leaving the Caesarian camp submerged. Famine and disease spread among the troops, testing their resilience. Caesar's resourcefulness prevailed as he diverted the river's flow, prompting Afranius and Petreius to abandon their camp and retreat. The chase continued, and a series of confrontations ensued between the 2 armies. Amidst brief moments of fraternization, Petreius ruthlessly ordered the death of Caesarian soldiers who had wandered into the Republican camp. The Republicans retreated once again towards Ilerda, where they found themselves besieged by Caesar's relentless forces. By July 30th, 49 BC, Caesar had successfully surrounded Afranius and Petreius's army. With no escape, the Pompeian legates surrendered to Caesar in front of both armies, marking a significant victory for the Roman general. That's all for today. See you in the next episode of the Roman Civil War. If you like this video, please give it a like, share this with your friend, and if you have any suggestions for me, please let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and have a great day ahead.